Hi, so welcome to Golf FM. I've been meaning to do this for a long time. This is what's in the bag 2024. I've been through the mill trying to find a set of irons and finally found a set of irons recently. Went for the Blueprint S from Ping, but just wanted to go through the bag and tell you finally what I've got for this year, because not actually a lot of the year left. Now we're into June. So putter is Odyssey Tri-Hot with a Superstroke Pistol GT 2.0 grip. The reason I went for this putter is it has kind of all the benefits of a mallet putter, a big heavy mallet putter with lots of forgiveness. So this is as much forgiveness as quite a lot of the mallet putters that you can get, the bigger putters, which have less resistance to twisting. So when you hit the toe, this resists it, but it's a blade style. I've always liked the blade style, but every time I go back to them, even Scotty Cameron types or Black Series, Odysseys, until I found this Tri-Hot, I always find they're compromised, especially on long putts. I feel like when you hit a long putt, you might hit it perfect. You might swing the perfect amount, but because you hit out the toe or the heel, it comes up 3 or 4 feet short. And then so you hit the next putt really hard, suddenly you get that out the middle, and you're 4 or 5 feet past. I find this is very forgiving. I find it as forgiving as a mallet, and it's been in the bag for over a year and a half probably. So that is testament to the fact that it is holding up to what it says it's supposed to do, and that is offer a blade style with mallet performance. So really happy with that. Then it's the wedges. Now the wedges, I've looked at these wedges for a wee while and often thought it's a great idea. This is the Taylormade MG4 now. But they've been doing this style of wedge for a while, and it's got a rusted face. So the face goes completely rusty, but the rest of it stays nice and shiny. Well, in this case, black. I did have a rusty wedge a few years ago, quite a long time ago, when they first sort of came to the fore. And I liked the idea of the rust and the fact that it wouldn't glare in the sunlight, because we do occasionally get sun here in Scotland. And the fact that it would create a little bit more spin with this rough surface. But it went really rusty and old looking after the first week of playing. It kind of bugged me. You would clean them up, ready for a tournament or something like that, and they just looked old and dirty still. So I like this idea now where you've got this rusty face and get all the benefits of the extra bits of spin, reduced glare, but then you've got something you can clean up and look nice in the bag. I've got a 50, 56 and a 60. Bounce on the 50 is 9, bounce on the 56 is 12, and bounce on the 60 is 10. I prefer slightly higher bounce levels. I think bounce is your friend, so it doesn't dig into the ground. And I think all but the absolute hardest of surfaces cope better with a little bit more bounce, so I tend to go for that. But the shape of these wedges I liked, and as I say, the rusty face was an attraction. I put the same shaft in these as I did in my irons. I like to do that. Quite often they just come with a wedge shaft, which is about a Dynamic Gold S200 a lot of the time. I've gone with the Dynamic Gold 105 stiff, which is just matches up with my irons. To me, it just makes sense to have the same shaft in as is in all your other clubs. And just Golf Pride Tour Velvet with just standard size. Nothing done to the lies or length or anything like that for me. I'm about 5'11" and I just get standard clubs, standard lie. Boring. Every time you go for a fitting, you're just sort of bitterly disappointed that there's nothing different. Yeah, you're standard, mate. Sorry. So onto the irons. Start at wedge for the Blueprint S from Ping. I got these power specs, so they're 2 degrees stronger in loft than standard, and that was in an effort, if you've seen any of my videos, not to lose any distance over my previous set, which was Wilson D9 forged. I wanted something a bit slimmer, a bit sleeker, nicer looking, but I didn't really want to lose any distance. I didn't need it to go further, I just didn't want to lose too much. What I didn't want to do was have to feel like I'm hitting an extra club every time I get a distance. So I'll go 170 and think, well, that's roughly 7 iron, 8 iron, something like that, whatever it is the wind's doing. And then suddenly I think to myself, no, I'll have to hit another club for that. But that's not happening. I've been out with them a bit. I've not played with them loads, but so far I'm firing my laser at the pin and taking the club that I'm used to taking, and it's working out. So I am just about getting there, and hopefully that continues. Really nice soft feel, really nice looks to these. I mean, it was a decision from the heart, this more than the stats. The one I really should have gone for in terms of the stats was the i530 of the ones that I liked, because that was actually going slightly further than my D9 forged. So if ever these start to misbehave, then I've got a backup. I'm going to go to I530, but at the moment they're going perfectly well. So I go wedge up to 4-iron in those. Don't even know if I've hit the 4-iron yet. We'll meet one day. Woods, I previously used Taylormade wood, so I had Stealth 2 titanium, and then the Stealth Better Players hybrid. Never really got on that well with a hybrid. Maybe it's the Better Player part of it that didn't suit me. And the 3-wood titanium, I'd used the titanium up to this point because they just go further for me, the 3-woods, which are titanium. But this one's got this sort of movable weight on the back, and every time I would take it back in the air, I would hear this sort of little whistling noise where the air would catch in the weight slider, and it just started to bug me. And so when I moved over to what my driver is, I thought I'm just going to match the woods up with that, because I like having continuity, mainly from the shaft point of view. There's just a similarity with the shaft. So driver, and that is Cobra Dark Speed X, 10.5, set to 10.5, and the Link LINQ UST Mamiya shaft M40X high tensile modulus 6F4, so basically a stiff standard Cobra shaft. It's mid-launch, 67 grams, and didn't pick it for looks this time. Picked my irons for looks. This I picked because I thought I'll try the Cobras. I hadn't stopped Cobra for a while, and I thought I'm going to try Cobra this year, see how we get on with it. And I took this out on the course and immediately just felt really comfortable with it. It just felt friendly. It just felt nice. It just really nice and easy to hit. And from that point on, I thought, how can I use this? Closest tender would have been this, the QI10, the middle version, the standard QI10 with the Diamana 60S in it. I really like that as well, and that's a backup driver. If this ever goes off, then I'll probably switch to this. But I just felt it was a bit more consistent with the Cobra, and I don't know why, because when I put it down, it doesn't actually light my fire that much. You know, I don't mind the look of it. I quite like the look of it. There's something about the sort of overall shape, maybe a little bit too triangular for me. It's not really that triangular, but it's slightly more than I would like. And the bottom of it is okay. You know, it doesn't, again, inspire me that much. It really goes to show how well it's actually working, is that I don't mind the looks, but the performance and the feel of it is just suits me. I just think sometimes you stumble on drivers where the shaft flex, the loft, the spin rates, everything, the way it all works together in unison suits you. And when you find that, you just feel comfortable. The whole thing feels easy. You don't feel like you're having to force anything when you're using it, and you kind of look forward to using it. So that's the reason I went for this, not because of looks. So I went for the X3 wood and 6F4 shaft and that, and I've hardly hit it that much, but when I have hit it, it's felt absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. I'm possibly, if I'm up against the titaniums 3 woods that I've had previously, it might be a little bit less distance, but it's probably not enough to bother about. And again, I'm thinking that this must be something in this shaft which kind of suits the way I swing, the tempo of my swing, the speed of it, and I'm happy with the shape. It also sits nicely. It doesn't sit closed in any way. I don't like 3 woods sit closed at all, so this just sits square, and I like that. Finally, the hybrid 3H in the Cobra again. I didn't have the shaft to match into these in my demo pack. I might order it now, I'm not sure. Although I have hit this, I've been hitting this with the KBS EGI Players Graphite Iron 85 Stiff. I've hit it perfectly well. And again, I'm not using it a lot. I mean, I'm playing on Gullah number 2 a lot, number 3 as well, and out here. Gullah number 2 6,200 or something tees I play off it, and out here is about 6,200 as well. And unless you're playing in really strong winds, you're not hitting a lot of really long second shots. It's only on par 5s and things like that these come out, so I'm not getting a lot of chance to use them. It's more the wedges. That's it for the clubs, so that's me finished there. So, but you're not getting away that easily. We're going to painstakingly go through the rest of it. So bag wise, bag decision was Hoofer, standard Hoofer. I am so pleased I've gone back to a Hoofer. These things are just, I would just describe them as a bag for life. Both my sons have got Hoofers, and they had them when they were about 13. One of them's 19, the other one's 21. They've still got them, and there doesn't appear to be anything wrong with them. They just last and last and last. You know when you buy a quality rucksack, one of the brands that make really good rucksack, and you basically just have it forever because it just is so well made. That's the feeling you get with this. A lot of the other bags, you feel like they're here today, gone tomorrow. You know, they're there to match in with the colours that the brand's doing at that time, and you maybe get a few years out of them. But if you use them a lot, things will break, poppers will come off, straps will fray, the inside part where you put the clubs will wear away. These things just last and last and last. I can't recommend them enough. And the pockets and stuff are just brilliant. I mean, it's actually going to be a full-on bag review on this coming up soon, so I don't want to spoil that, but I can't recommend the Hoofer enough. Ball-wise, I wanted to mention, right? So ball-wise, I've changed. I've gone from the Wilson Staff model, which I was using because I was using pretty much all Wilson stuff, and I like that ball, it's perfectly good. I'm not too fussy about balls. The only weird thing is I've never really been a Titleist Pro V1 player. I've always found them a wee bit clicky off putters and round the green and that sort of thing. I could use it, it's fine. I mean, it spins enough and all the rest of it, but I just like something a wee bit softer off the putter. And when you get to premium balls, the compression is such that a lot of them do feel a wee bit clickier and a bit harder. And this new Chrome Tour from Callaway, to me, feels a little bit softer off the putter face than some of the other Tour balls. Interestingly enough, I started off with this old box thinking that this was just the one for me because I'm not a really hard hitter of the ball. And I assumed that this one was a slightly less severe one than the X. But when you read them, the X actually is the one I should be using because it has slightly higher spin and more spin round the greens than this does. This is actually a slightly lower flighted ball than the X. It's a wee bit like that happens with the Pro V1. It's the same sort of setup as that. So I'm kind of switching over to the X at the moment. To be honest, I played them back to back the other night and I didn't notice a lot of difference. I really didn't. I could easily use this one or this one. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. What I do like is also the triple track, and I've only got triple track in the gold box in stock at the moment, so I'll need to order some X with the triple track. I'm assuming you can get them. So that is the ball. Glove, if you're interested, I'm using Under Armour ISO Chill, perfectly good glove, and I'm using Echo C4 shoes. Hope that is of interest to somebody. You know, I have a moderate tempo swing, a sort of high 80s for irons, up to 110 on the driver swing speed. So, you know, if you're interested in trying some of these clubs yourself and you think, well, he's trying that, I'll maybe give that shaft a go because that's the same sort of speed I'm doing, then feel free. But if you've got any questions, put them in the comments and I'll get back to you. And thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks again.